stress, everybody. Good morning. So we'll talk about that, the aminos, and any questions you have that I can hopefully support you with toward the end. So, and let's see. Hey, Mark.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thank you. Yeah.
I like your
good.
background.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wish I was there. I wish I was
Me
sat
too.
on the other end of the pier.
Me too. Hey, look, I wore the same color as it looks like the water.
Perfect. We're matching.
Yeah.
Let's
So
get
before I
out there.
say hi to Jeff and Eileen, this is like a talk, right? This isn't a presentation, correct?
Yeah, so community group, so it's kind of presentation first, followed by discussion.
Oh, Christina didn't tell me that.
Well, you're welcome to, because you were going to do the 5-star pro recovery.
Well, I know, but I didn't know that I was presenting that whole thing because I'm doing that with the class.
Yes.
I thought I misunderstood it. And for those of you chiming in here, I was just asked to do this because Christina's on a holiday, so I wasn't sure how these were run. So I can pull that up and let's just talk first, and then I can pull up some stuff if need be, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure people will have some questions around that you can answer along the way for it.
Most do. I still do.
Don't we all? We learn every day, don't we?
We do every day. So thanks, Mark, for that update. And I can bring up my PowerPoint
awesome.
If we need to. So, and is it Ellen or Eileen?
Good morning. It's spelled funny. It's Elena, but I get it. I get it all. I just tell people, don't worry. I've been called worse. Okay.
Okay. Well, fair enough. You know, I thank you for that. I have so I live in Salt Lake City, and we have an Airbnb here, and so there's a gal that's been staying with us for a couple of weeks, and I still can't pronounce her name, and so but she's darling, and so I just do the best that I can. I have a hard time pronouncing things anyway, so it's one of my things that I just live with. You know, people have different issues, and we just can live with them. So thank you and welcome. And Jeff, hi Jeff. And I know Jeff, and I've seen you also before. If I say Eileen, is that okay? All right. First was wonderful. Jeff, where are you? I know I've seen you before on a couple of things. So
I am east of Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, right. Okay. And you were in the training earlier, weren't you?
Yeah, I initially met you, Patty. It was maybe 7 or so years ago in South Denver at something the Alliance was doing.
Oh. That was the training that we did there. It was the Alliance and the Academy training level 1 in person.
Yeah.
Oh, so, that's fun. Okay.
Yeah, and one thing, I am in Christina's level 2 thing.
Ooh, good.
And I'm so glad you're doing this. I remember, like, from when I met you in South Denver, the brain balls recipe. You talked about that in the group. I emailed you. I never got it.
Oh,
I would love to get that.
Oh.
So that's one thing. But I have 2 very specific questions.
Okay. So I want to hear your questions, but will you just do me a favor and send me another email with brain balls on the top?
Yeah.
Send brain ball recipe. That's all I need, and I will send it to you. So
okay.
I apologize for that. You should have actually gotten it in the training because it was one of the recipes that went out. So yeah, anything like that, if you all need to email me or want to email, you don't have to email me, but if you want something that we're talking about and I'm offering that, just put it in the topic, and I'll send it out to you. So yes, I will send you that. And then I want to come back to your question. Hold your questions. Everybody, you know, if you have questions, just write them down. And but I want to say hi to Heidi and anyone else that's just calling in, because this is to me about a community. Heidi, I've met you too, have I not?
Oh, Hi.
Hi.
Hi, hi everybody.
Hi.
I'm excited to jump in here. I'm a graduate of level 1 of the
Okay.
academy.
Okay.
And I've audited it.
Yes.
Audited. I can't say that.
Yeah.
Past tense audit.
Okay.
Your 5-star pro recovery. I just love it. And so I'm really excited. I just
Good.
saw that you were going to be talking about it. I'd love to review it. It's so helpful to me to just hear it over and over again.
Yeah.
I particularly love to hear about the protein, and
Yeah.
I'm finding that, I've always been a carnivore, but I'm finding that I'm wanting more vegetarian protein. And I've also got good questions about, like, how much is the right amount of protein for everybody?
Okay.
How do we calculate that? How do we know
Okay.
if they're getting too much? That sort of thing.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So I
Yeah.
think probably most of you have some questions. Am I correct? Yeah. Hi, Party. Oh, okay. Hi, Party. That's kind of funny. I just called myself Party, which I don't do anymore. Sober 16 years. I'm so glad I don't, trust me. So does anyone else, welcome to the other folks that are on the line. I think the best way to do this is to talk. And then if I need to bring up a slide, I will, but I actually wasn't prepared for that. So I think I'd like to just keep this a conversation. I don't know that you actually need to visually see something. I also, there's a lot of people calling in who aren't going to see it. So I'd like to just run with conversation. I will be showing some books because I have them right here in my office. They're just helpful to me. Not that you need to go get the books, but they're probably on the reading list that you'll get from my pro recovery class if you haven't already. I probably added 1 or 2 new ones. So I think what I'd like to do is, Jeff, why don't we start with you, and then we'll go to Heidi, and then anyone else can chime in. I think that might be the best. Patty, please share your email. Oh, okay, Heidi. So let's start with you, Jeff.
Okay. I have 2 questions, and one I would like to share my screen with.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm
Okay.
just putting let me just put my email up so I don't forget.
Okay.
Oh.
So I'll start with the other question where I don't need to share my screen.
Okay.
So this is a client I've worked with for a while, male. He's probably 35 or something like that. He has the Joan Matthew Larson, the biotypes, the alcohol biotypes.
Okay.
He has the allergy biochemistry is prominent. He's been, in recovery for maybe 5 years, something like that.
Okay.
And food is his drug now, carbohydrates largely. And so when he goes back to visit his parents, he eats all kinds of junk food. And he was, back there for a couple months, excuse me. Then when he came back, he got into a better diet. What he was telling me was, I get diarrhea when I eat a better diet. And I'm going, interesting. And so my question is, when I hear that kind of comment, how do I make meaning of that? Where do I go to learn more and all that sort of stuff?
That's a great question. And I'm sure some of you probably have already had that too. People start eating well, and all of a sudden, they have, like diarrhea or other intestinal issues going on. So there's a couple things here, and I just want to remind us all that we are these absolutely beautiful, unique puzzles, and so are our clients. And this isn't okay. Let's see, how do I put this? it's not an easy road to get into the dietary, like what's actually going on. I think that there are some things we can look at. So with diarrhea, is that diarrhea is really a form also of constipation. So this is the first part of the answer that I will share with you. And then I want to hear other people too. This isn't just about my response to your question, Jeff. I want other people to also chime in after I share mine. And that is, a lot of times there's so much build up along the intestinal tract. In other words, there's what they call mucoid plaque, and I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but it's actually a buildup along the intestinal tract. And that can cause diarrhea. It can also cause leaky gut. It can or contribute to it. Let's just say contribute to it, because it's generally not just one thing, right? It can also contribute to malabsorption, so that you're not getting in the nutrients, because all the food comes in through the small intestines, right? And then the liquid comes in through our large intestine. So if either of those are blocked up, like the channels are blocked up, there's actually plaque along it, a cleanse might be appropriate for that. However, in early recovery, cleansing is very challenging. And how long did you say he was sober?
5 years.
Oh, then he can totally do a cleanse. Yeah. 5 years sober, yes. 30 days sober, no. In fact, we don't really recommend maybe 6 months to a year. Then we just have to work with what we can in terms of supporting the system without cleansing, because as we know, cleansing, there could be blood sugar drops, there could be amino acid issues going on, neurotransmitter issues. However, that if he does go on the cleanse, I would keep him on the aminos.
Okay.
So there are cleanses, and we can talk about that too. The other thing is what he's eating. So, and his dosha. So if you remember and those of you who have already taken the training, and I think that's what I thought maybe this was more about, people who've already done the training, so that I could talk to you a little bit about the class. In the class, we talk about, and I'll just share it here. And I know there's lots of tests out there with allergies. Did he do an allergy test on foods?
No, not yet. That's one of the things that I recommended, but
okay. So the ALCAT test, I just had a client that I started with who did that. That's a pretty thorough one. And it's really simple to read the results, Jeff, too. It's like, I don't send people out for that, but people come to me. They've seen either a naturopath or a doctor. I think they can get that covered. And I guess Christina probably would recommend one as well too, but that can go into the allergies. But before that, I would recommend getting him on his blood type. So why is that? Anybody want to share that have taken the class? Okay, I'll share. Okay, so one of the things that I have found with starting with the blood type is a lot of the foods that people need to avoid will more than likely show up on an allergy test.
Okay.
Because what happens, and nothing's written in stone here, friends, but I've been working with the blood type as a health coach for over 21 years. And it's by far the baseline of my work. I always look at that first. I look at this first, and then I look at the amino acid assessment. Those are my two front runners, because I can get people on the right proteins right away. And vegetables. Some vegetables are really allergic to, are allergic to some people, and can create. So what happens in the blood type is when our body can react to different foods through our blood system, and it's part of the lectin theory. I don't know if any of you have heard of what's that guy's book, The Plant Paradox. Has anyone heard of that book? Yeah, Dr. Gundry. Well, Dr. Gundry, I bought Dr. Gundry's book, The Plant Paradox, because it's all about lectins and how certain vegetables and foods may create this agglutination reaction, right? Foods that are binding and that create inflammation. It's based on inflammation. Well, when I bought The Plant Paradox, I was sure he was going to talk about Dr. D'Adamo's work in that book. He did not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, but he's on Facebook. You're not going to see D'Adamo on Facebook. He's a very humble. He has a practice, a naturopathic practice in Connecticut. He has a farm there. He's been doing this work for so long. In fact, his father, lectins, the first one, Lectin, yes, lectins, Holly, not leptins. His father, James D'Adamo, was one of the first, I think one of the first naturopaths, if I get the history right, in the country. And he worked at a spa, I think, in Europe, and it was all vegetarian diet. And half the people felt great and well, and half didn't. So they started looking at what could possibly be different. And of course, they went into the blood type, excuse me, which is ancestral. So blood type O's, I'm holding that book up right here, the small little book. And there's a couple different books about it. Blood type O's are the folks that do better with the paleo. They do need protein. I mean, Julia Ross would also say everybody needs protein, and so would Christina, and so would I. But we need the protein that we're going to digest. So that's what's really helpful about using the blood type. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. That points me in the right direction.
Yeah, at least to personalize.
Patti, your answer created another question for me.
Of course.
and that question was, could you say a little bit more about the risks or benefit with a cleanse in, I can't even say early recovery, but like a week out of opiates?
Oh, no cleanse.
Yeah, but like so I'm thinking of a particular guy who he is fasting.
Oh God.
And I'm going, I don't think that's a good idea, but like, I don't really know what more to say other than
fair
that.
Enough.
I mean, protein, sure. The blood sugar thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes. Let me address that question. And this is a really good question, gals and guys. So one of the things, of course, with the opiates, most of them, and even alcohol, those two wreck your stomach lining. I mean, the folks with cocaine they don't have as much of an issue with it. Although they're usually doing a mix of stuff. I mean, you'll never find someone that's like, oh, I just do meth and cocaine, and but particularly the opiates and the pill form, right? Wreck your stomach. Alcohol just destroys the gut biome, right? So they are in a place where they're like nauseous. So they're like, oh God, I can't even imagine eating like a piece of fish, like, oh, like, right? So with that, I would suggest, Jeff, and for the rest of you, to do like a bone broth, to do soups, healing soups, to do, even if you can get a really clean protein shake where it's already broken down. And I'm not a big protein shake proponent, but in early recovery, I am. Because getting them to eat a meal when their stomach is off and they feel like they have to fast, we have to still nourish them while they're detoxing. Does that make sense? And that's one of the things. and I can share this because I don't think he'll ever listen to this. David Wolfe. I know some of you know David Wolfe. David Wolfe is a big nutritionist, and I remember hearing him years ago on a call about let's see, it was a call about nutrition, right? And I really think he should take our course. But he's a very, very smart nutritionist, as was I. I mean, not a nutritionist, but I was a health coach before I went through my own addiction healing. So he knows a lot. But the question was, David, someone knocks on your door and they just came off heroin. What would you do? And he said, I'd open them up and I'd put them on a cleanse. And so Christine and I are like, we're like, no. Feed them bone broth, feed them some nourishing soups, get them on a really simplified protein shake, probably with some omega-3s in there, whether that's fish oil with lemon or a flax oil. I'd probably go with fish oil if they can. I know it's hard to stomach thinking about that in a shake, but you can actually get the lemon, fish oil, cod liver oil, or the omega-3s. But if not, you could probably do flax oil, which would work okay for blood type A. So I would recommend that they get something in, and maybe a simplified, depending on their blood type, maybe a rice with some bone broth if they need a little more substance, or a buckwheat if they're, whatever grain they can possibly do, and nourishing. We need to nourish them back.
Yeah.
And this cleanse is cleansing. It's clearing. It's not nourishing. And we can get to the cleansing down the road, but in the beginning, they need to be nourished back, because when you're cleansing, your blood sugar is all over the place. I just came off a 3-day cleanse, by the way. But I'm 16 years sober. If I had done that earlier on, there's no way I would have stayed sober.
Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So I had asked early on
Yes.
if bone broth is an acceptable form of protein, and nobody knew the answer to that. I'm assuming it's a lot of protein in there, and you have gelatin in there, and it is healing to the gut. And
No
in Chinese
question.
medicine, that's healing the earth element.
No question. It's fantastic.
That's
now,
what
in terms of calories with the bone broth, you're not getting the calories in, right?
No, but the protein.
No, you're getting amino acids in, and it's a completely healing remedy. And the thing I would say about the bone broth, friends, is find out their blood type, get the blood type. So if they're blood type B, they need turkey. By the way, all blood types, if you don't know their blood type, do well with turkey. God bless the turkey in Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because here in Wisconsin, they don't tell you your blood type unless you're having surgery.
No, you don't. They don't. You have to get a
They'll
kit.
tell you.
Yeah, you have to get a kit. Let me just pull up the kit while the next question's coming up. Hold on. I'll just show you what they look like.
Like, I don't even know my own. I think it's A, B, or A. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
Really? Okay, so blood, and it's funny because I have a new client. Well, not funny, but I have a new client that's just started, and I on my health history form, I always ask the blood type. She's been to all these doctors, even some naturopaths too. These you can order. They're like $8 or something. Know your blood type, and you can get on his website, Eat Right for Your Type. You can order these as practitioners too. You could probably get a wholesale account with them. But these aren't that expensive. I mean, I have clients order them. It's a little tricky to do it on yourself. It's not hard to do for someone else. I have had clients do it on themselves. I had one lady, she needed 3 kits to finally figure out how to do it. But
is it prick of the finger?
It's a prick of the finger. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a prick of the finger. And then you just read the directions, and it's all in there. And it's not that hard. You just have to follow directions. In fact, funny enough, I just have to share the story. So, and then I'm going to come back to your other questions. So my son Matthew is 36, and when I was first starting the blood type, when I was in health coaching school, because I learned about blood type, Ayurveda, which we'll talk about in a minute for your client, Jeff. I didn't do them very well, the tests very well. So it came out that he was an A in my first test, that I did for my son, Matthew, right? And then I went through sobriety, moved out to Utah. He came out to visit me. And he's like, Mom, I really want to have some meat. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're from New York. So if you hear my New York accent, I just really want to have some meat. And I'm like, yeah, well, you really need to stick with turkey and fish and chicken. You're A. And he goes, I don't think I am. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we're up at the ski area. It was in the fall. And he turns and runs up the side of this hill, jutted up. Now, why is that important? Because there's not just food characteristics. There's, blood type O's were the runners. They were the athletes. They ran for their food at night. They were the hunter gatherers. And so there's a component to that too that's fascinating about the work. So I took him back, blood tested him, and he was right. He's an O. So I'm glad I figured that out for my kid. Would it have made a lot of difference? Somewhat, yeah. It still didn't stop him from using cocaine. My son is drawn to cocaine, and that's another element of the blood type. You will find, and I'm hoping to work on a advanced short course on some of these specifics of each of these types, because I don't do it in the level 1 training. Christina has asked me to do that, but I have found over the years, blood type O's are drawn to stimulants and relaxers. So I have found over the years that a lot of blood type O's are have attention deficit disorder or are categorized with that, and they're lower in dopamine. Blood type A's tend to be lower in serotonin. So again, this is a little more advanced. I just wanted to plug that in about the blood type. And yes, bone broth is fabulous. So I would recommend that. Jeff.
So I have another question that I want to share my screen with, but before I do that, and I'm aware that I don't want to take up too much time, but you mentioned the idea of getting other people's feedback for the questions that I asked. And
let's do it.
I know there's a lot of people here with a lot of knowledge, and so I just want to invite that if anybody has feedback.
Well, we have a lot. Oh, Valsa's on too. Hi, Valsa. We have a lot of people on call, and I think actually Valsa would probably be a good person to ask that if she wanted to unmute herself. But anybody else would like to respond to Jeff's question? Eileen?
Hi. If, since he is further down the road, sober, sometimes like we are eating things that are in and of themselves healthy, but it won't necessarily be a blood test thing. Like, like 9 years ago when my second grandson was about to be born, it was really weird because I had this like tomato obsession. I had to have raw tomatoes in something like every night. And it went like past the seas, like I had to have it with my meal. And you mentioned the diarrhea thing, the loose stools. And I mean, literally, oh my God, it was like 5 or 6 times right off the bat in the morning. It was crazy. And I tried everything. And then finally I did acupuncture and Chinese herbs. And that was what helped. But also Paul Pitchford's book, Healing with Whole Foods.
Oh, yeah.
And great it book. Was like the tomato was too, I think, yin?
It's a nightshade.
And I don't have a problem with nightshades that I know of. I'm like a lot of Irish, potatoes, cool, but it just wasn't working. And the funny thing was, I realized later that when I was pregnant with my daughter, who was about to have my grandson, I had to have stewed tomatoes almost every day when I was hot stewed tomatoes. and it didn't give me the loose stools then. But
But you cooked them.
yeah, it could be something he needs to tweak, maybe. I mean, that was my experience. That was pretty mind-blowing.
No, I think that's
Yeah,
a great response, Eileen. And what I want to add to that too, and I'll open the floor up, is I don't know, and that's bringing me up to his dosha. So this is the Ayurvedic dosha, and I would encourage you all to do some research in Ayurveda, because it's another way to help personalize your client's food plan. And this is what we teach in level 1. Look at the blood type. Obviously, if they need allergy tests, because there's about, and Christine and I both agree on this, there's about 20% of the people that have genetic things going on that need to be tested. But about 80% will make changes with aminos, with food, and with lifestyle by looking at certain things like their dosha, their lifestyle, their blood type. And I also will talk a little bit today about their metabolic type. So when you were explaining diarrhea, also in Ayurvedic medicine, there's 3 doshas, right? There's Pitta, Vata, and Kapha. Vatas are the energy that do not do well with raw foods. They're generally thinner. Their nervous system is the first thing that goes off, right? So you're like, they get nervous and then they, have diarrhea. I mean, it's just part of that system. So when I was studying Ayurveda, I'm like, wow. So when people were talking, well, I'm going to do a raw food diet, and they come into me and they have that thin, dry air element, I don't give them raw food. No. In fact, my husband right now, we don't do salads with him at all anymore. He's like, so, I've had to modify things because I'm Pitta and he's Vata. And he has had a lot of diarrhea, so. So I just wanted to bring that element in. Yes, Amira? Amira, sorry. Okay.
That's okay. No worries. So there's a really good book out there that combines Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, because it's not a lot of research has been done on the amalgamation of the two.
Oh my gosh. Put it in the chat. Could you put it in the chat?
Sure. If I can remember the name of it. I think it's in my storage downstairs in a box because I just moved.
Okay. Okay.
But as far as, with somebody that had an eating disorder, because that's my specialty, and they get bloated a lot. They feel it, stuck in their underneath their chest, or there's a whole host of things, GI problems. So I'm wondering the route to remedy that distension of the stomach. The only thing that I can think of that would help, besides healing the gut, taking probiotics, taking prebiotics, taking digestive enzymes, and then also doing acupuncture, as well as, if it's okay and safe when you consult with an acupuncturist, to do moxa. Is there anything other than that in our toolkit that we can use to help people with that kind of digestive upset?
Well, could you write down that last thing? I'm not familiar with that. Moxa? Is that Chinese?
Yeah. Oh, that's with acupuncture.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that. Could you write it?
It can be separate or combined with acupuncture. It's really cool. I have some, and then there's a snuffer.
Well, what is it?
It's mugwort.
So mugwort. Okay, I know mugwort.
Burn the mugwort on the stick. And I also know if you do a castor oil pack.
Oh, right.
Supposed to help, but if you do too much, you'll get diarrhea. But just how to bring down that bloating is, I know it takes time, but is there something else that I'm missing?
No, and I'm hoping Valsla will come in. Valsla, can you unmute yourself? She's our resident physician, functional medicine physician from New York. I think I would love to hear from that. But I think what you shared was so important, because Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, they are interwoven in so many ways. I've noticed. I'm more familiar with Ayurveda than Chinese medicine, but I do know about the yin and the yang, and there's lots of herbs. In fact, Dr. Diadamo does a lot more with Chinese herbs in his recommendations.
Complicated though. You gotta be careful with those herbs, man.
Yeah.
You need to be able to make sure that they're manufactured here in the United States.
Exactly.
Because if they're not, I guarantee you they're going to be laced with sulfites and all this other stuff, because China, they don't have regulations like we have here.
No, but you're absolutely right. And that's a really important element that you just talked about, Amira. Did I get that?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that, and that's basically star number 5. I've kind of changed them around a little bit. Star number 5 in the 5-star pro recovery diet is eating clean food, like knowing that's, in fact, one of the important things, Jeff, coming back to your client, is making sure they get out the toxicity, because if we're bringing in some of this good stuff, but they're still taking in herbs that are laced, or they're taking in food that, has MSG in it, they don't even know. Pesticides. I mean, all that wreaks havoc. So the first, coming all the way back, is yes, get the right proteins in, and also encourage them to go organic and know where their food is coming from. It doesn't have to be expensive. People are like, oh, it's so expensive. It's not. There's more available. We just have to look for it and realize the value of that. Because the toxic, Healing with Whole Foods, Paul Pitchford, thanks. I mean, the toxicity level, it's a great book. I had that in coaching school. It is so big to folks too. And that can also add to that earlier thing I was talking about, the plaque buildup, it going to fat cells, the toxicity levels going to organs. And this isn't a scare tactic. This is about, our bodies are so remarkable. I mean, what is it? Every 2 weeks we have a new stomach lining. I mean, we are remarkable creatures. And when we start feeding and helping our clients, bye, Balsa, help see that, they start feeling better. But it is a process, and people don't know, right? I mean, one of the big things I always say is that we're not taught this in school. I didn't know till my kid, that's now 36, was 5, and he was off the charts, out of his mind with behavior, runny noses, headaches.
Yeah, it's good to watch all these things, but not become so hypervigilant that you're not eating.
Oh, no. You're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God.
So, and that is a really good point that I want to just bring up. Thank you, Amira. And I actually learned this from Julia Ross many, many years ago. I was working with a client who had, what is it called? Not anorexia, but orthorexia. It's a fear of food. Am I getting that right? I forgot.
I think that's orthorexia.
Orthorexia. Yeah. So I didn't know what that was. She showed up at my office, and I said, I've made a protein shake. Would you like a little bit of that? And she's like, oh. She thought about it, and this was my first session with her.
It can't be cold, because otherwise the stomach is going to freak out.
Oh, right. No, it wasn't cold. I was already tuned into not having cold. That's part of Ayurveda too. So I didn't serve it cold. But she took a sip of it and she went into panic. She goes, what's in here? Oh my God, I didn't ask you. Ran out of my office. And I was like, oh my gosh, So why? Because she was dealing with this fear of food. Mm-hmm. And this is part of eating disorders, where you're so afraid of everything now that you don't know what to do. And that's just as dangerous as eating toxic food.
Yep.
So we have to,
worse.
It can be. We have to come to this middle place and this nourishing place of helping people build a relationship with food. And many don't have that, especially in early recovery. I mean, I'm working at a treatment center here in Salt Lake City, and nobody's self-regulating because they're eating all sorts of crap, right? But now they're coming off of, heroin and meth and alcohol, and they're eating, sugary treats, and they're drinking sodas. And I'm like, okay. So we have to start where they are and just encourage them. It's a little different in a treatment center that's not doing holistic food. And we know this in our field anyway, that there are very few treatment centers that are doing clean food and personalized food. It's a tragedy, actually, because that's why they're not staying sober. They're not looking at the biochemical part of it. And you know, we have this med situation going on. Cheese, at least I had some protein. Yes, you did have some protein. We have this, so we're getting there. I have to go to, do you publicize the 5-star recovery? Yes, I can send you an article about it. It's on the 5-star pro recovery diet. It's on my website. Go to my website, a little bit on there.
What's
And
your
then it's also,
website?
it's in the chat. Are you not getting the chat?
I'm getting
Yeah.
the chat, but I don't see.
It's up further. Yeah.
Got
it's
it.
up further.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, yeah, go to my website and then connect with me about that. I can send you, there should be an article on there. I advertise it a lot through the Alliance for Addiction Solutions, which is our nonprofit that we work with. I encourage everybody to look into that, and also with the Academy. And you'll get it through the training.
Okay.
You'll
Great.
get everything through the training. You're going to get the whole diet.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, Jeff, I
Are
think
you ready for me to share my screen?
I'm ready for you to share your screen, and then we'll open it up to some other questions.
Okay. Okay. So
Oh, yes.
this is a, you know, just this is a 76-year-old woman, no addiction. And, you know, one thing that I just want to point out is, you know, there's not a lot of high numbers here.
No.
However, when I did the NAQ, and I got this. And so she had, like, all of these are digestion things here.
Yep.
And, you know, the comment, so the question that I have for you,
Okay.
she made this comment, like, you know, well, here's a couple things, like when I eat.
Oh, liver, gallbladder. Oh, yeah. Large intestine. Oh, yeah. All these are high.
So it's like she has a very limited diet, so her stomach doesn't feel horrible. I mean, incredibly limited diet. But then she made this comment to me. She did some kind of a cleanse thing, but she got off all of the supplements she was taking.
Yeah.
And her comment was, so when I got off of all of those supplements, I felt better. And so it's
okay.
like,
Fair enough.
I'm just curious, like, what's going on there? What might be going on there? And
okay, good question. Yeah.
what are like 2 or 3 places I can go to, you know, to research more, or potential tests or whatever? So
no, I think, could you share the NAQ for Heidi? What is the NAQ?
Yeah, the NAQ is like in level 1, the amino acid therapy chart is the main measure. Well, in level 2, the nutritional assessment questionnaire is the main measure.
Right. Right.
And it is many questions.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming for people.
It's a little overwhelming, but
it comes from the Academy, Heidi.
It's incredibly useful. And I got the book by the guy that put that together, and actually, like, the high priority areas, I can go to his book and look at specific areas that people checked off, and then he'll have suggestions for each one of these questions.
Could you tell us that book, Jeff, again?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me, but it's like the functional medicine symptoms, something or another. You know, there's maybe, I know Eileen is in level 2. with me. Maybe she
Is
has
Eileen, are you on? Can you give us that information for
the
us?
Eileen with a
Oh,
Ayleen.
Eileen.
And
Okay.
there's two Eileens, pronounced Eileen,
Oh,
but they're
Eileen. Yeah, I
so
think she's
totally
coming
different.
on. I think let's just let her talk. There we go. Hi.
Good morning.
Good
How is everyone?
morning. Good.
Sorry, I just came back from a travel and I'm just getting oriented here, so
Oh,
I had to put
where are
myself
you?
together.
Oh, you look great. You look great.
Oh, I'm in my mind.
Mhm.
So okay.
Could you talk a little louder? Here we go.
Yeah. Let me see if I could find it's on my desk. One second.
Okay, cool. We're gonna get that for you, Heidi, and Eileen wants
Yeah.
to, and I forgot too. But it is a really helpful questionnaire. It is long. I usually give people a health history form that doesn't go into those specific questions, but I think it's a fantastic assessment, and I would totally recommend it. And Jeff, I know people didn't see your chart that are calling in as Aileen goes and gets hopefully more information about that book. But I think if you could bring that chart back up again, just so
Sure.
I can look at it and share it with people. Because if you look at the chart, so this gal has a high priority is liver, gallbladder, small intestines, large intestines,
Essential fatty acids.
oh, essential fatty acids, which makes sense. Sugar handling, that I like the way they put that, sugar handling, adrenals, and kidney and bladder. So a lot of her eliminatory organs are not functioning. So that's why she felt better getting off all the supplements. So if you think about that, like if when I talked about earlier, like if you have a buildup in your tract, you're not absorbing that stuff. So you're just feeling like it's too much buildup, right? And if your liver's built up too, now then you're not releasing the toxins from your body. So I hope this is making sense for you all, because this is that bigger puzzle piece of our beautiful bodies, that these eliminatory organs and systems need to be looked at. Now, again, that's hard in early recovery, right? Because we don't want to put them on we don't want to cleanse them and have everything be like thrown out. But you could, looking at this situation, what was her drug of choice?
There is not an addiction thing here.
Okay.
No,
Okay. There's
no
not an
addiction.
addiction. Okay. And why did she come to you?
She's a friend. She's a
Okay,
friend. This
she's a
is not
friend.
a client.
Okay. This is not a client. Okay, cool. Friend. That's cool. But what is going on with her again? Tell me again. I'm sorry.
Well, the primary thing she was concerned with when she initially asked me, some stuff was sleep. That was,
Oh.
and then she gave me some information. She filled this out, and then she went away for like a month or so. And so it was a couple months.
Okay.
And now she is on, Ambien and Ativan, and she was like, I know I can get addicted to this, but I needed sleep.
Okay. So let me throw a question out to you. And Aileen, we're going to come back to you guys. Those of you who are especially in the level 2 training, maybe not the level 1, but those of you in level 2, looking at these scores, high scores, I'm talking about the sleep right now. Okay. Now we know low serotonin can create sleep issues, right? We know tryptophan works great for that. What else on her chart here? Now, obviously, if there's kidneys back up and some of the other things, liver too, that could cause that. But what else is high here that could cause a sleep issue? What organ function? Can you guys see what I'm talking about here?
Adrenals.
Yes, adrenals. So if the adrenals are off, you're not going to sleep. Right?
Right.
Now, here's the caveat in this. We have to get her absorbing stuff into her body. So even if she's taking an adrenal formula, okay, but her small intestine and large intestine is not absorbing it. What do? We can put it under the tongue.
Yeah, so it's like what I was telling her is we need to start here, and this
Yeah.
is all digestion stuff.
Yes, 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 that's all digestion. So for sure, there can be things over there, but the woman has to sleep. So now she's on Ambien and Ativan, right? And that's also starting to back up her liver, right? So we know that that's part of the deal, right? So my suggestion, and I want to hear others too, is to get her on an adrenal formula that's herbal based, because do you know her blood type?
I do not.
Okay. I would stick with the adrenal base. Like Gaia's got a great formula. And if you can get it for her to put it under her tongue, I know that might be kind of icky, or some kind of formula where it's going into her. And I know there's some homeopathics for this, but this is more adrenal. Something she could take under her tongue or open the capsule. I don't know, or let it dissolve, maybe dissolve it in water and let it sit in her mouth. So she's getting some of that in her mouth already, instead of taking like a big capsule. That's the thing we want to watch out for, because she may not be breaking that down. So that would be my suggestion. And then she needs to do a colon cleanse, which I would suggest that first. Clean out the colon, then you do the liver, and then you do the kidney. And you can get herbal formulas for each of those sections, but the colon's got to be first, so that plaque or whatever is in there gets cleaned out. And there's a lot more on that, but I don't know that I can go into that today. But I'm happy to help you with that, Jeff, if you want to connect and do a consult with me.
Thank you. This is really helpful, Patty.
Yeah, and I've got a cleanse that I just finished, and it was the first part of it was cleaning out the large intestine and the colon and the small intestine, and then now I'm doing gallbladder, and then you're going to do the kidneys. But her blood type would help too in this particular thing. So I hope that's really helpful.
That is super helpful.
Oh, good.
Thank
So
you.
you're so welcome. Aileen, can you give it? Did you find that by any chance?
Oh, I'm not sure. Are you talking with me?
Yes.
Eileen. You could call me I. You could call me I. It's the easiest way. A lot of my whole family calls me I. Everybody I know that's close to me calls me I.
Okay.
It just makes it easier. Right.
And do you know what? I want to tell you,
Yes.
I live on I Street.
You do.
I do.
Well.
How rare is that, right? So I'm like, okay,
So we're homies now.
We're homies, man.
We're homies. All right. Okay. I don't know how to guide someone. I just don't know it fully when it comes to their diet and their reactions and what all their symptomologies. If I do not see a 5-day full-on food and liquid intake,
absolutely,
it is great. It's like I don't even speak. I go,
good.
Give me that. I want to see.
What you're eating.
Right. Now, I know this is probably the oldest, most ancient way that dietitians, as dietitians back in the days, 30 some odd years ago, I learned, diet diary, food diary.
Question.
But the stuff really works. Now,
you bet.
One of the things that it does, when you put pen to paper as a person and you start writing down what you just had, it brings it to your consciousness.
No question.
So in a way, you are encouraging the patient, the client, to become more aware of what they're doing, without even actually telling them that you're giving them that practice. And they when they look at it, because if they're recalling, it's all talk, it's in the air, and they just come up with these things, and it comes from the air and it goes through the air. But when it's on the paper, they actually see it and they go, oh shoot, look at what I did here, and it's a baseline as to where you circle back 3 weeks later and you tell them, look what you were doing here. I just want you to compare, because it's amazing how people forget.
No question about it. No, Yep. I absolutely fully support that. And thank you for the reminder, because, I have a few clients I actually need to do that with. I have one woman we're on like our 16th session, and I'm like, we're not getting anywhere. And I'm thinking, well,
talk to the hand. I'm not responding. I need to see. That's it. Done.
Yeah.
Now you'll be amazed how people can throw off their blood sugar by chewing gum. I had someone that was like a gum addict, and I didn't know, and she wouldn't tell me until, and I make sure, whatever you put in your mouth, be it a liquid, be it a supplement, be it a food, anything that goes in your mouth via liquid or chewable or shake or powder,
Yes.
And I want you to write it down. And I realized that one of the ways she would continuously throw off her blood sugar balance was by chewing gum.
Oh man, that's a good one. That's a good reminder.
I mean, you lived this long in the industry, you'll see it all. And every time I tell myself I've seen it all, some other thing comes up, So I'm here to share, So that would be my first ever. Now, when they're taking their liquids, now a lot of times, especially with elderly, this applies to almost everybody, but when you're younger, you can get away with more things than not, right?
No question about it.
So when they're taking liquids while they're eating, they actually dilute the very little enzymes that they have.
No question.
So before I even get into the more complexities of things, and I used to work with blood type diets a while back, and I was actually looking for my little charts that my assistant had arranged for me, and it had the groups, and I would select through, because even with the blood type, if they have certain allergies, it could fit in their blood type, but it's not fitting with their allergies.
No
so
question.
I would end up layering, and so generally, yes, I think a couple of principles that I would follow with blood types is, if you're an O, you have the tendency of having an easier time with meats, with animals, period.
They have hydrochloric acid.
Right. And that's like across the board with everybody. Now, the Bs and the ABs, chicken becomes a confusing thing for me. I personally was never fond of chicken. I ingest it maybe twice or 3 times a month.
Are you a B?
No, I'm an A.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's so going back to Jeff's question, the hydrochloric acid becomes an extremely important thing. The other thing, when generally people say, when I go on a healthy diet, I have diarrhea. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I need to, it's like, please explain. That's a very generalized answer. And so unless, again, I have my eye is trained, and I could clearly just scan through it, and I could see what is going on. So the liquids away from food, making sure that they have enzymes. Now, here's one funny thing I always say, and this is not a cultural insult to anybody or anyone. I say, do Hispanics fart when they eat legumes? They don't. Did you say? They don't. The reason why they don't is because, not as much, is because they don't get bloating, they don't have problems with legumes. Why? Because they eat it all the time.
Right.
And when there's something that you eat all the time, the body's wisdom will get the message, because it's continuously through the epigenetic signaling of it. Continuously will get the message and will make sure that those enzymes are available. Now, so when one eliminates certain groups of food for a very, very long time, and it's not asking or demanding from the body to produce those enzymes, the body goes, okay, I'm not going to spend energy producing those enzymes. You know, the body's brilliant. It's like, you know, if it's like a company, if you're going, your funds are low, you're going to shut down certain departments of your company to keep the company going as minimal as possible. That's how I always explain it. So reintroducing those foods slowly will make it doable. Again, the amount, that's where the amount makes a difference. So if you're having an 8-ounce steak, you know, and you're an A blood type and you're in your 70s, of course you're going to have a diarrhea. You know, if that's not what, if there's not enough of the juices, or, you know, you haven't had vegetables for 6 months now. When I say you haven't had, meaning it wasn't it wasn't a dominant part of your diet, and now you're starting to eat vegetables, those enzymes aren't going to be there. So reintroducing them slowly and making sure that they are blanched, not steamed, not dead, but blanched, you know, where it makes it easier for the body to digest. And that's like, you boil the water with some sea salt, and once it's boiled, you immerse it in there and you let it boil for another 3-4 minutes, and then you take it out. You know, that's how is the best way to treat those vegetables, and it makes it much easier for people to digest, rather than having it raw, and then if it's overcooked, then it's dead already. So I don't know the purpose on that one. So those would be my hinters.
Thank you.
As far as absolutely.
No, those are extremely helpful. I hope everybody got as much out of that as I did. Fantastic. And I think it's a good reminder about rotation too. You know, we get stuck into these like patterns, and people like patterns. I like patterns, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, something comes in we haven't had in a while, and our body's going, whoa, okay, wait a minute. And it may not be an allergic reaction. It may just be your body going,
intolerance.
Yeah.
It's intolerance. It's not forever. Even allergies aren't forever.
No, of course
I tell people, you know, that's why we do a step-up program, and we slowly remove the offending molecules and calm the body down, repair what's damaged, and then we slowly spoon feed you back into, you know, regenerating yourself.
Absolutely. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Now, one more word, if I may, if there's anybody else that wants to, please, I can stop. But it was about the sleep cycle.
Yes.
One of the things, is that okay to continue?
Yes. I just want to make sure that you answer the FAQ book. We were looking for the assessment, the guy that wrote the assessment book that the Academy uses, the nutritional, what is it again?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, Jeff. Hold on 1 second, Aileen.
Sure.
Go ahead, Jeff.
His last name is Weatherby.
Oh, Dr. Weatherby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he did that. I didn't even know.
I mean, the book is about this thick.
Yes,
okay, so we need to put that. Hold on, guys. Could we please put that in the chat? People want to know who this is so they can look it up. Just put his name in the book in the chat. That would be really helpful.
Yes, actually, he's from England. He's awesome. I met him first 18 years ago. He's just phenomenal. Dr. Weatherby's book. Yeah.
So while I is looking for that, does any of the call-in people have anything? We're getting it. Oh, it's coming, Jeff. Anybody call in that needs to share anything? I just wanted to open that up a little bit. No? Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Hang on 1 second. I'm just,
yeah.
hold on.
Uh-huh. Thank you for doing that.
Sure, of course, of course.
Yeah, there was a couple things I was agreeing with. I just want to come back a little bit to what I was saying about the diet, having people record their food. People do not like to do this. So it's not something that they're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to really do that. But the value, as she talked about, and the value that I know about when I do that with clients is so enormous. And it's, I want to remind everybody, this is about people developing a relationship with food, which is an intimate relationship. It's not about, oh, you didn't eat that and you didn't do that. I mean, that they can see that. But what we really want to encourage is this intimate relationship of food, because we are walking food. We become what we eat. There's some real value to understanding that energy. And so instead of us being like, oh gosh, I shouldn't have eaten that, it's part of us just developing this relationship. Also looking back, and I've had so many people, as I was describing too, when I've done this, look at what they haven't been getting in. Like they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't been getting in any fat. They didn't know that until they started writing it down. Because this is our, and there's a great book. Oh my gosh, I got it from, it was one of my favorite books when I was in health coaching school in New York. It's online now. It was the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And when I studied there 21 years ago, we had to go in person. So it was so different and so wonderful. I wish everybody that had that experience. We also had in-person cooking classes, but I'm going to find the book. It's by, let me just grab it. But it's about intimate relationships with food. And I love the book. So hold on one sec. Yay, I found it. It was so quick. It was so easy because I'm around all my books. It's called The Energetics of Food. And for those of you calling in, you can't see this, but it's a wonderful photograph on the front of the book. And it's by Steve Genet. It's Steve, G-A-G-N-E, Encounters with Your Most Intimate Relationships. So on the cover of the book, all the vegetables, there's a cow, there's chicken, there's mushrooms, they all have a face. So it's not just the animals that have a face, it's all the vegetables too that have energetic faces. Well, they're actually real faces on this front cover. So I just love this book. And there's a lot about Chinese medicine in here as well. It's just a fantastic book. So I think it will really help for those who have, well, it may help you. I don't know if you'd recommend that to a client right now. But I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to bring up one other book, especially about having a relationship with food. And that is, and I just got this back from a client, and it's called Eating in the Light of the Moon. And it's not necessarily something for a client, although I loaned this to a client and she had it for 2 years. And I finally was like, could you please drop my book off? Because I just felt like I wanted it back. Eating in the Light of the Moon. I don't know if you're familiar with that too, Eileen, but this book is called, and it's women or men, how women and men can transform. It's based around women, their relationships with food through myths, metaphors, and storytelling. And it's by Anita Johnson. And Anita Johnson is a psychologist. So it's based a lot on the psychology of food, but it's told through myths and storytelling. And it's just an incredibly beautiful book. So that might be something to add into your own personal, especially if you're dealing with women with eating disorders. This is a great, great book. And then the other one, Aileen, you weren't here, is this one this was a, I don't know if you remember this book, but this is one of my favorite books about that. So there is that. Aileen, did you find?
So what I realized is this is what I got trained on with him. And it was about the blood chemistry, the functional perspective of blood chemistry. And it was not, Jeff, you were saying it was the one he wrote had to do with the questionnaire?
The questionnaire of, the nutritional assessment questionnaire that Christina uses.
I see. I have not, I don't have access to that one. Yeah. But this is when I first connected with him like 15, 18 years ago. That was 2001. My goodness. Where did the years go?
Just so you all know, Christina just texted me.
Yes. Nice. She's at a seminar.
She's out of town, but she just mentioned that she's talking to the author of The Pantry Principle. I wrote some articles about that. It's a great book. So I just asked her about the nutritional assessment author. So hopefully she'll get back to us if she's available for that. So very, very cool.
So it's probably, if it's Dr. Weathersby, his site, you could just Google him, and I'm sure that the book would be there. I'm
going to also put in this other author, you guys. So it's Eating in the Light of the Moon.
Yeah, that makes sense, because a lot of women, the moon is our female emotion, whether you're a male or a female. So I could understand from ancient, understandings and writings that how those cycles, affect the functionality of especially the female body.
Yes.
The males too, the ones that are connected to their female aspect of themselves, it does affect them too, but more so women. It's been said that women, that's the reason why, like during the full moon, if you're on that cycle, you gain a lot of water, you could gain up to like 3 to 5 pounds of just water, you just hold on to it. And then you just release it afterwards. So that makes sense. It's nice that she's done that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great book. I'm sending the other one to you guys also in the chat. I'm just a very slow typer. Steve, Gaggne. There you go. Yes.
Gaggne.
I don't know. It has a little apostrophe at the end of the E, so I don't know if that's French or something, maybe.
So excuse me, the author of that book is Dickon Weatherby.
Oh,
Dickon is his first name.
Okay.
Yes. Dickon, yes.
Oh.
He has this blood chemistry. This is from moons ago. I've trained with him on this. He's phenomenal. He's just great. Yeah.
Okay, I'm pulling them up.
Yeah.
Blood chemistry analysis, complete guide to take-home testing. Dickon Weatherby. He's got quite a few if you just Google him. I'm not sure which is the one.
Yes.
It's probably the Complete Practitioner's Guide to Take-Home Testing, maybe?
No.
No, okay, it's not that.
I'm looking at, I Googled it and I can't find the specific book.
Okay. Well, Christina will know for sure since she uses it quite a bit. So if she doesn't get back to me on it, you all can ask her about it because I'm curious too on, I mean, it should say on the assessment where it's from. If you guys have the assessment, just look on there. It's got to have an author on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's a question for Christina. I'm going to let you all, I need to use the restroom really quick. So I'm going to go exit, put myself on mute. I'm going to let you all.
So I am sharing my screen. This is the NAQ that Dickon Weatherby did. And let me see if there's, I'm not, there's a lot of pages here. I'm looking at the bottom. I don't see anything on there that lists the name of the book, but in the book is this specific assessment, and this is a part of level 2 as well. So.
Right. Well, I'm not sure because functional nutritional assessment is a very generalized word. I'm not sure if it is specific to that questionnaire. But
the book is specific to that questionnaire.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah. Every question on there, he writes about every question.
Ah, okay.
And,
cool.
And the book is like this thick.
Right.
A reference book. It is not something anybody would read cover to cover.
Right.
And I loaned it to a friend, or I would pull it out and have the title and be able to show it to you, but I loaned it out.
I see. And you purchased it online?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Christina suggested it.
Okay, great.
At the beginning of level 2.
Sure. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Eileen.
Yes.
No, it's the other one.
That's funny. Because so mine is pronounced Elena, but I have longtime friends and other people and coworkers who call me E. So
okay, so we'll do E and I.
E.
Yeah, because I would have pronounced your name Eileen.
Yes,
the way it's spelled. So
like I said, I've been called worse. Okay.
So can we talk about in regards to Jeff's client, there was one other little thing about the insomnia aspect of it that I would like us to, maybe discuss together and see if there's any, because these sleep meds are not really right.
Well, no, but I want E to be able to share. Are you talking about the client, E? You were going to share something, so I just want to make sure that you have the floor if you needed that.
It's not a current. It was related, but not a past student client.
So we'll come back to you. Let's go back into the sleep issue with the client, Jeff, your client.
Yeah. So, well, just overview is, that was on the nutritional assessment questionnaire. One of the very first things is, to list 4 or 5 goals, and her very first one was sleep.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, and she had just gone with, just getting a couple hours of sleep every night for long enough. She just couldn't take it, and that's why she went on the pharmaceutical. So
no question.
And it is so interesting, and I heard other people talk about this too, is they'll try tryptophan or melatonin when their digestion is all messed up and their body's not getting the nutrients from those things.
Right.
And they'll say, well, I tried that and it didn't work. So
Exactly.
they're never going to do it again.
No, I get that. And here's the thing with that, and that's a good point, is that that's why we have people open them up and put them under their tongue.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
they're not getting it through their digestion, because their digestion's a mess.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're at least they're getting some in through this part of the mouth, and they'll absorb it more than doing the pill into the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and I want to share something with you guys, because on that note, because I just did this 3-day detox, right? And, you know, tryptophan's worked for me. I've used it over the past. Well, heck, man, I am sleeping with that tryptophan like never before, because I cleaned out my colon and my small intestine. So I was like, I'm just telling you my personal story. This is after 3 days of just doing that. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I was getting benefit, but I wasn't getting the benefit I needed. It wasn't working as well. That's all I have to say. And it makes sense, right? So I just wanted to, how can we do that cleanse? Okay. Let me see, where's my book on it? Okay, I have to, it's Dr. Christopher's 3-day. I'll put it up here in a second. I think it's, shoot, I have it on my, where's the book? It must be downstairs. If you email me, if you're interested in it, then I can get it for you, because I don't have it right here. And I'm upstairs. I have it down in my kitchen. It's Dr. Christopher's 3-day cleanse. Dr. Christopher is an herbalist. He is no longer alive, but he was one of the first herbalists. And I love his, I went actually finally, they have an herbal shop and a restaurant south of Salt Lake City. And I was like, because I can't eat out that much, guys. And I know you might feel the same way, but I mean, I do a lot of food work, as you might imagine, and hopefully you do too. So I don't eat out that much. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can go to a restaurant. Aha! It's clean. It's like, so I went down to their herbal shop, and it's Dr. Christopher. I don't even have his last name, so forgive me. I will get it to you. But it's basically a 3-day juice fast. Now, there are some, obviously, you know, I'm all about personalized food plan and personalized detox plan, right? So there are some things that might not work for someone who may have like an overgrowth of candida, because you do apples and prunes, which is a little bit more sugary. So there's that. However, I did not react to it, and I have blood sugar issues, and I had candida. So I was, the whole premise of the juice, and I was like, why isn't he doing vegetable juices? Well, the whole idea is to soften for 3 days all the plaque along the track. So you do water and juice and olive oil, which helps the liver. And then we also added in teas, herbal teas for 3 days. But I'll send it to you and you can make, but my point is, check in what you need and check in with your, you know, what your clients need. And it's important to personalize it. And I did do aminos because I've had issues with serotonin. And so I took the tryptophan at night, and I was just amazed at how great I slept because I wasn't eating food for 3 days. So again, I'm in a good place to do that. I have 16 years of sobriety. I know what my body needs and doesn't need. You have to vary this with your clients, okay? So it's always personalized. No matter what cleanse it is, it's always personalized. You need to look at where the person is, what's going on with them, and if it's the right time for them to cleanse. But again, looking at the systems on why you want to cleanse is important too. You know, what's going on. And it feels like for your client, that would be helpful. But now we've got the Ambien, like I was talking about, we've got these meds in there now, right? So that adds a little, this is why it's hard when they go over, finally get to the meds. It's, then we've got to look at, oh, okay, well, now we've got to look at that element of getting them off of that, right? So if anybody wants to chime in on that, I would.
Okay, so sleep hygiene
Yes.
is one of the principles I bring in, especially when somebody tells me that they have a problem sleeping. Sleep hygiene includes the fact that when you first get up in the morning, there's more details to it, but because of the time limitations, and I need to get going here, I'm just going to briefly touch over them. The first thing one gets up in the morning, they have to, and I say have to, expose their eyes to the light outside. It doesn't matter if it is a cloudy day, whatever day. And I'm not talking about from behind the window. I'm talking about really stepping out and looking at the sky, looking at the light outside for at least 3 to 4 or 5 minutes every day. That sets the circadian rhythm into place. That initiates the natural cycle of sleep and awake time in the body. Now, sometimes it is hard to overwrite that cycle when a client has been on pharmaceuticals that drive that cycle. So slowly weaning them off of it and having them develop this habit of getting outdoors first thing in the morning when they get up does wonders. Now, the other thing is during sundown, again, that is when you want to make sure, again, you're outside right before sundown and you get your eyes exposed to that. You know, I'm all for sun gazing and I love doing it. And not everybody has the chance to be in an area where you actually see the horizon, you know. But even if you don't see the horizon, you could still benefit from it by just doing those two little things, you know. And then the blue light, which is the computer light, the screen light, all of those need to be at a shutdown.
No question.
I mean, a shutdown.
Yep.
No exceptions, nothing. About a good hour before the time they actually want to go to bed. Sleep hygiene is just as important as any other hygiene, if not the most important, right?
It is, so, absolutely.
Especially with COVID nowadays, I think a lot of people have lost that, you know, being outside, feeling good. They're all cooped up. The tendency of just being indoors has really done a number on most of us, you know. And so that is something that becomes a priority, especially when someone says they're having a problem with their sleep cycle. Of course, there's more to the story, but just those two things make a world of a difference.
No question. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. And then I noticed, Jeff, when you put up the NAQ, the fatty acids were all the way, the markers were all the way up there. That whenever I see that, one of the first things I ask myself is, how's the gallbladder doing?
That's right.
You know, how is the gallbladder doing? And of course the liver, you know, that whole biliary tree, that whole, you know, dynamic up there, you know. And so if they have been on a refined diet, if they have been on over-the-counter meds for a very long time or prescription meds for a very long time, if they're not physically active, if they don't use any kind of a bouncer, I usually tell people with congested gallbladders to jump on their bed, literally. I mean, you know,
or a trampoline.
Of course. I mean, if you don't have a trampoline, you know, there is a specific trampoline that the organization sells, you know, that is it's like is a different construct, and it's wonderful to have if you could get one. They're about, I think, $400 or $500 or something like that. But if not, you know, that little jump, like about that much above the mattress. I know it sounds crazy, but what it does is it actually starts pumping the lymphatic system, because the lymphatic system has it's like a tulip, you know. So every time you go up, it opens, and every time you come down, it closes. So it doesn't work like the regular circulatory system in the body. It works a little differently. It's more like a mechanical, you know. It's that feeling you get when you come down from a roller coaster ride, you know, that feeling, you know, that's the lymphatics. And what it does, it actually stimulates the lymphatics. And again, it does wonders. You know, that's the reason why kids love jumping on beds, you know, especially when they're sick. I don't know if you've had kids, like my kids would go crazy.
Well, we had a trampoline, so that's
wonderful.
Part of why we had it for immune system.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, so you know, those little things that make such a huge difference, you know, without getting into the complication of, you know, all the other stuff, you know, just those little different. And if somebody cannot change those little things in their daily habits, they're really not going to be very successful in changing anything more complex than that.
No question. And this is
wouldn't you agree?
Yes. It's also part of lifestyle medicine. I mean, this is why, you know, you can take, you know, you can eat organically and take the supplements, but if there's certain lifestyle things like your sleep hygiene that are not being addressed, it's, you know, a crapshoot, honestly.
And what happens is, after a while, because one is not, has not experienced their own commitment into doing something, anything, drinking water, that supplement habit that they have, that's going to diminish in time as well. Guaranteed.
No question.
Guaranteed.
Yes. And I would also add to that, we, you know, we're learning about nutrition, but you can't miss this whole lifestyle picture of what affects your health. That's why for me as a health coach, I was trained at looking at everything that affects your health. And I didn't really know that till I went to school, and I was like, oh, wow. So my relationships, my environment, my sleep, my food, my addiction, you know, all these things were affecting. So and I'm not saying you have to take on the whole picture, but you need to look at the picture and go, what else could be affecting this person's sleep? So those are really great recommendations with the sleep hygiene. I would also add, you know, look at the sun and get outside, and also ground. So as soon as their feet, and if they can't ground because it's cold, just to be on the ground and ground the electromagnetic energy, hug a tree, touch the earth, somehow let the body. There's a book called Earthing. And that book is brilliant because it really looks at the science of how we shift our electromagnetic energy by touching the earth, which is why we feel better when we hike and we sit on the ground or we're at the beach. You know, we're actually rebooting our electromagnetic energy. And we need that more because of the computers and all the stuff we're on, you know, and the TV. It's like, turn the TV off. I mean, nobody should be watching the news anyway right now, but you know, get away from that and look at things you can do to sleep. And it's perfect. So thank you for bringing that up. And I think
absolutely
we get to really help our clients look at what other things
Yeah.
NTA, I think, that affect it. Christina just said NTA, Nutritional Therapy Association. So those are the people that put out the questionnaire. So
okay.
Yeah, it's the Nutritional Therapy Group, Nutritional Therapy Association. So look into that. And that's, Heidi, if you're still on, and I think that's where she got it from. So, and they're amazing. I did their conference a couple years ago in Portland. Julia spoke at it. Got it. Oh, and she said, thanks, pray. Tell us more about pray, Heidi. Heidi just put pray in the chat. I think prayer is very important too. Well, prayer is just our affirmations, right? It's our connection with our affirmations. And I think that's a really good, yes, it's prayer hands for gratitude. Oh, I see. Okay. Yes, of course. But coming back to sleep, I would add one, I could probably add a couple more things, but what I would add to your client or friend that's dealing with sleep is resentment. And if you're holding resentment, you ain't gonna sleep too well. And I'll tell you what, if you're blood type A or AB and holding resentment, there's something about us clearing our slate that if we don't get it out somehow, whether we journal it or dance it out or somehow releasing that stuff we've been holding on to, you can do all the supplements in the world, all the great food in the world. But we have to look at that emotional component that we're holding on to so tightly. So I would encourage your friend as well, Jeff, with sleep. And I know that if I've got something going on and I haven't cleared it or done some processing to clear it, I'm not going to sleep, and doesn't matter how much tryptophan I take.
Right.
So I think that's an important element to bring in here. That's the psychological, emotional part of what we deal with our clients too. And as we're not therapists, but we are looking at what's affecting their physical vessel. And emotions affect our physical vessel. Resentments affect our physical vessel. And there's a great book. I just happen to have it right here. Called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. It is a phenomenal book by Carol K. Truman, Carol with a K. It's an older book. I've been working with a woman. She's doing a lot of frequency work with me.
Buried alive.
Feelings,
never die.
Yeah, Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. Now, it's not a negative book. It's very positive. So, but the basis of it is so based in our DNA. It's not very much different than The Body Keeps the Score, the trauma book. It's based basically on that too, that we have to be able to find release mechanisms for our trauma and the feelings that come up. And what was fascinating about this, oh, great, thank you, is her connection, and I just read this yesterday actually to my a class that I do, about single-mindedness. And I was like, wait a minute, single-mindedness, that can't be anything positive, because we need to be open-minded. And yes, we do need to be open-minded to what we're learning and things coming in. But what she meant by single-mindedness is she meant that we need to align our thoughts with our feelings. So if you're thinking, okay, I can do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to step in and I'm going to take my supplements, and then you're over here and your feelings like, I can't really do that. You feel like you can't, right? You're like, no, I'm not worthy of that. Forget it. I'm not going to do it, right? But your thoughts. So I don't know if this is making sense to you all, but it made sense to me. And what is that? Your left brain and your right brain coming together. It's your left brain, the thinking, logical self, your right brain, the feeling part of yourself. We need to align them. And the more we align them, they work for us. That's where we create our manifestations, right? So we can think, we can intellectualize everything. And you know this, I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that. And you're over here going, your right brain's going, no, you're not. You can't do that. Oh, I feel like this. I feel, I don't feel worthy, or I don't, I've lost it in the past. I haven't been able to do it in the past. So what does that mean? It means balancing the left and the right brain. And there are ways to do that through breath, through what we're already doing with our nutrition, because as we know, when the brain is fed, our emotions are fed. So we're able to come back to that place of self-confidence and drive, right? So if we're low in serotonin, we're not that self-confident. We can't feel the feelings of joy and hope. So this is where that baseline of feeding the brain first is so critical in our clients' work, however we get to that. And yes, feeding the sleep, making sure we're getting to sleep so that brain detoxifies at night and repairs at night, right? It's restoration. So I hope I didn't overwhelm you with that too much, but it was a really powerful thing. And I'll end with the alternate nostril breath. How many are familiar with that? It's a breath that you alternate the nostril back and forth. You can look it up, alternate nostril breathing. I do not know the Indian name for it, but it's really helpful in yoga. They've used it for so long. And why? Because it's supposed to balance both sides of the brain. It's supposed to bring us back into more alignment. So that's something you could do with your clients right there. And it's a simple practice. I'm happy to do it with you all if you'd like to.
Let's.
Okay. And I'll talk, those who are still on the phone, if you're driving. Yep. E. Uh-huh.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I have to go.
Okay.
I'll alternate nostril breathe some other time.
Okay.
But I had already just one more. And
Okay, go ahead.
The Staying Clean and Sober book by Merlene and David Miller, and Merlene Miller just died.
I know. Thank you for bringing it up.
Ordered this.
I know.
Given away copies over years.
I know.
Like a few weeks ago.
She just did. Yes, we have it on the Alliance website.
This is really good.
Yes.
And yeah, I haven't even opened it yet. So anyway.
So I thank you for bringing that up. And I just want to say something about that right now. God bless Merlene. We have to care for ourselves, guys. That comes first.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to remind all of us as practitioners that self-love and self-care for us is important. And as much as we're giving it out to others, and I've seen a lot of people with incredible degrees, written great books, who haven't been able to do that. I'm not saying that Merlene didn't do that, but I am saying that I've seen a lot of people in our field and in many fields not care for themselves that know a lot. So we all need to come back to go, how much am I giving and how much am I receiving? And coming back to our care for us, resetting our own energy. And that is the best example you can do for your clients.
Yeah. And then I gotta go because
okay, bye, E.
I have a day off between work days.
Oh no, go take care of yourself. This is all about you caring for you.
And
bye.
I love you all. Thanks.
Okay, blessings. Love you too. So I'm going to finish with the alternate nostril breath. And some people may listen to this afterwards. So so you're going to take your dominant hand. Obviously, if you're driving, please don't do this. You're going to take your dominant hand. You're going to let your thumb finger and your pinky finger be out. And we're going to go back and forth. I'm going to talk you through it. This is, again, alternate nostril breath for balancing the right and the brain, right and left brain hemispheres. Okay. So take a deep breath in and then out through your nose. And we're going to do that again. A deep breath in through your nose and then out through your nose. And now take your thumb and close your right nostril and inhale left. And now take your pinky, close left, exhale right. Inhale back right nostril, close right, exhale left. Inhale left nostril, close left, exhale right. Again, inhale right, close right, exhale left. Inhale left nostril, close left nostril, exhale right. Inhale right nostril, close right, exhale left. Inhale left, close left, exhale right. 2 more rounds. Inhale right, close right, exhale left. Last round, inhale left, close left, exhale right. Relax your hand down and just connect in with how you feel. Keep the body relaxed. Remember that the best way to move forward is to be in a relaxed state. If people are stressed when they come into you, you need to help them relax first, either with a breath or some music, whatever feels good to you. I know you all know that. So I'm going to close our gathering today, and thank you all for showing up. And you can be in touch with me through my website or just through my email. Okay?
Patti, this was so awesome. I was so glad to see that you were doing this. And
oh, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you very much for being here and doing this. Good to see you.
Great. Good to see you too. Blessings to you all. Much love. Bye-bye.